Canadian GP weekend. One of the highlighted events of the Formula One calendar for various reasons, historical value, it being a hybrid circuit. Let's not also forget Lewis Hamilton's first pole, first win in Formula One career here. Valtteri Bottas, who we thought perhaps may have been given the opportunity to drive for Aston Martin here, has the lap record, I believe, still here when he was driving for Mercedes. But unfortunately, Lance Stroll is in the car for not only us as spectators, but Aston Martin as a team, except for his dad. Probably the only one happy about that. The last time we were here in 2024, it was Max Verstappen won the race. Lando came in second. Russell came in third. Russell had pole position, ended up losing that. And then with the McLaren team, Lando was third and Oscar Piastri was fourth. Now, where would they pole now? Because Mercedes, Russell, looking like they might be strong here as of FP2. We'll see what FP3 brings shortly. I think FP3 comes on in about an hour's time, maybe 58 minutes or so from here. Big shout out to Mary Beanie in the live chat. Big shout out to Reezy, R33, Z33, and Racer X210 out here. And as we are going to get into this, Lewis Hamilton has decided that the shenanigans need to stop. The shenanigans need to stop. Not only journalists, not only Formula One pundits, Sky Sports talking heads, but even you content creating, hating ass mother beeps. He's telling you got to get off the bull crap. Some of you all out here playing devil's advocate for your own clout chasing, clickbaiting. Got to be saying something to cater to this side and cater to that side ass. Some of you stepping fetch ass, shaking for Max Verstappen one day, wearing a Red Bull hat the next day, then you putting on a Mercedes hat ass. Lewis Hamilton saying it needs to stop. He's saying this is crazy. These are shenanigans. He's saying pretty much what I said on one of the live videos that I mentioned you about. What are you doing? There's a double standard out here, and it always applies. Well, it typically applies to Lewis Hamilton. And you know what? Lewis Hamilton has something to say about that at the driver's press conference. So I think we should listen to what he had to say and check it out.
Everyone that's writing stories of me considering not racing, and I mean, I literally only just started firstly here with Ferrari.
Just started.
And I'm here for several years. And I'm here for the long
Put some respect on my name.
There is no question in where my head's at and what I'm working towards achieving with this team. So there's zero doubts. So
I'm telling you. Tell him, Lewis.
Making up stuff.
So Lewis is saying, stop making up stuff. Stop making up stuff. And I think he's talking I think he's talking in response to these people and the retiring. He's retiring. He's washed. He's done. He's old. He just got to Ferrari. We're 10 rounds into his Formula One stint with Ferrari. 6 months it took him to get acclimated at Mercedes. We're not even 2 months in. We're barely 2 months into the Formula One driving calendar. Lewis Hamilton's like, oh, this is bullshit. I'm just gonna say this is bullshit. All right, I'm gonna drop one or two during this pod, but this is BS. And yes, he hears it. Why? Because people are constantly asking him where these people that he has to talk to. They're constantly asking him this. He sees it all the time. He doesn't have to respond to it all the time. He doesn't necessarily have to think about it all the time, but he knows it's out there. And right now, I think it's gotten to a point that he knows you're using his name for clout chase. He knows that you're talking negatively about him because it's sensational. It's going to bring the Lewis Hamilton haters. It's going to bring the Lewis Hamilton supporters. Yo, he's talking to all of y'all. Some of you that claimed, oh, I'm a Lewis Hamilton fan. No, you're not. You ride the wave. You ride the wave. You ride what's hot, who's hot, and then when it's not and you think somebody else is coming up, you start jumping on the fence, you teeter back and forth, you find out which side of the grass may be a little bit more plush, and you fall your ass over on that side. You're not legit. You're a bandwagon rider. That's what you are. That's cool. That's what you do. It works for you. Hey, it is what it is. What's up, Mary Beanie? What's up, Drez? Lord Chaos in the house. But yeah, he's talking to all of y'all. And it is a shame that there's so much focus on trying to bring down Lewis Hamilton while he is getting acclimated in a team that we already were very suspicious, and not in a conspiracy theory way suspicious. We were already very hesitant about Ferrari being able to just miraculously perform in the next season because they had not showed us this. Ferrari had not earned our trust with this. And I told many of you that Lewis Hamilton being inbound to Ferrari would have some type of positive boost, but I didn't think it was going to be enough to just turn the entire Ferrari what we know them to be around. I didn't think it was going to do that right away. And if you thought that was going to happen right away, that's actually kind of crazy to even think. And for you to think that he's washed after simply trying to get adjusted into a car that Charles is not even running. Charles doesn't even have, he's not running away with anything. Charles is having his own problems. Ferrari outlets and Ferrari talking heads and Ferrari journalists that are really clued in and so think that themselves that know the inside track of Ferrari. I've been hearing there's some rumblings of Charles and his displeasure or displeasement with Ferrari. We got Fred Vasseur supposed to be on the hot seat right now, which I don't even think that's legit. I still think that Fred is the dude for the job. I still think Fred's the dude for the job. I don't think Fred should be on the hot seat. I don't think he should. Honestly, I don't. I think that, yes, there has to be some conversation to be had. Yes, there definitely needs to be some changes made. We've changed team principles, and now is not the time to change Fred's time. I think Fred's time is still now, and he shouldn't be changed. I think he's going about things in a very methodical, smooth-paced way, not in a knee-jerk type way. Now you got Lewis Hamilton in, and you know for a fact that Lewis Hamilton is a type where he's going to try to collect as much information, wrap his head around this concept of this car, and he's going to push gradually until he fully understands it. That's what Lewis Hamilton is going to do, okay? So with bringing that, we already heard talks that Ferrari was supposed to be bringing updates. Fred got to the point where he did and didn't want to pretty much mention what they were going to do because I think they missed the target more than a few times. And maybe after missing the target more than a few times, it's not something that you always want to say and then miss it because you don't want to deal with the flack, right? You don't want to deal with what comes of setting expectations and then failing in regard to those expectations. And I think Fred has done just that to a degree, or not Fred, more like Ferrari has done that to a degree, okay? They've set a lot of you expecting that updates were coming, and some of those updates did come, and the updates that came didn't necessarily yield the performance that you may have anticipated and Ferrari may have set you up to think that will come. And so Fred is at a point where I'm probably not just going to tell you, and we'll go from there. But with that being said, we can look at what's going on. Canadian GP, cars, McLaren is bringing updates. Now, we know the last race, McLaren did not declare any changes, and that was the first race that were the technical directive was being implemented on the front wing. McLaren was left out while several other teams had to adjust their car or their development based on that technical directive. And Haas was one of the teams that was just blatant like, hey, we had to do it for this reason. Several other teams kind of roundabout gray area, like, did it, but they were the most blunt, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, from how I felt when we did that. But this race in Canada, McLaren is bringing updates. They got a front wing, okay? Now, it would be very dumb. I'm just going to say, it would be very dumb if we saw this front wing change and it said in regards to the technical directive, well, what the hell were you running last time? I don't know. It could be, could be anything. But As it sits here, we got mermaid tails, which is very, hey, mermaid, just very catchy. But the front wing, a revised front wing geometry aiming and improved aerodynamics performance across a wide range of attitudes through a redesign of the main element, as well as introduction of mermaid tails to the front wing end plate. The rear wing has also had some things done: drag range, medium downforce rear wing update, medium downforce rear wing, more efficient coverage of a large drag range. Then we have front suspension changes here for McLaren. Update front suspension geometry, small modification to the front suspension geometry, which comes with an update aerodynamic surface to accommodate the geometry change of the re-optimized local flow conditioning. So we do have a lot of flow conditioning there. We got a lot of geometry changes to condition that flow, downforce. And as it sits right now, I think we all saw the results for FP1, FP2. All right. Results for FP1 and FP2, not necessarily very promising for McLaren. It looks kind of maybe some things going on, but it's not like they're not going to figure it out. Okay. Right now, it's not like they're extremely behind, but it's, Lando second, Oscar is sitting there at 6. They're kind of separated. I think by the time we get today, FP3, we're going to see McLaren improve quite a bit. It seems like this is kind of what they do. George Russell being at the top of the chart, seeing how George Russell also was on podium here last year in the 3rd position, and he did get pole position. And Kimi Antonelli, as we know, Mercedes does better in a better climate. This might be a circuit that might fit Mercedes, so they might have kind of a re-emerging performance very temporarily, though, here. So, Incredible Facts question, the Super Chat says, but how can Loic Serra be the problem when he had no input in the car? He's trying to fix this clown car. I'm right. That I will say this in a general sense. I do not really, it's not that I don't care for it. I just don't agree that if somebody's coming in and informational wise that they were not there when a said thing was developed, and they're coming in the midst of a shitstorm, let's just call it that, and now they're tasked with trying to find a way out of this storm, that they then start getting the blame for why things are bad. Listen, things were bad when I got here. Things are bad right now. I'm trying to make bad into good, and while that's in process, things are still going to be going bad as we transition from bad to good. So if I'm getting the blame for it being bad, can we look at the data and see that there's some progress? Can I just get the blame for, okay, he's making progress? Now, at the end of this tail or end of the tape or the end of the season, if you want to say maybe you feel my impact didn't generate enough progress, I can understand that. Maybe you want to say going into the next season, you were in that season, now you're in this season. What are you really going to bring us? And then you don't like that, I can go with that. But let's not blame somebody who completely wasn't involved in this. They're only having now to be tasked with fixing this about that. So I agree. I don't agree with that. So as we get to the next team, and as we show right here, you'll see McLaren, rear wing, front wing, a lot of different things going on right there, suspension. And we'll go into that. And so the next team is we see kind of sitting toward the front right there that declared some changes is Mercedes. Mercedes has changes, front floor corner, floor edge. I think last time they did something with the floor fencing, but as it sits right here, it is large brake duct inlet and exit. So they're trying to cool those brakes a bit more. I think people are still trying to wrap their head around, kind of trying to figure out what McLaren's doing, how they're doing it. So we got some changes there for the inlet ducts and the exit ducts of the brake cooling system. Also the floor edge right here, as you see, floor conditioning, flow conditioning, reduced cord wing element, reduced flap cord, and tweaked vanes, increases mass flow on the forward floor vertices shed from the fence system. So if you catch the car's right day, right temperature, good angle, you can see some of those vortices coming off the front wing end plates and even sometime the rear wing, what used to be end plates, but not so much now. You can kind of catch those, especially when you get the exhaust or the heat flowing off the car. You kind of see those vortices. So it's a really cool picture, a real cool thing visually to see. So next team that is going to be in here, and of course we have the diagram that shows Mercedes and where they're going into doing their implementations of their updates. Whether it's going to be an upgrade will be determined to be seen. And the next team we have is also a Mercedes power unit car, and that is going to be Aston Martin. One change here declared is the front corner. Again, front brake duct with larger exit. Teams are trying to, in my opinion, find out or find some type of performance, as McLaren has been not quoted, but it has been reported or visually seen other teams trying to find, inspire, specifically Red Bull. How are McLaren doing this? So teams right now are trying to bring these changes in, probably after a lot of spying, a lot of looking, a lot of investigating, a lot of peekaboo-ness. Hey, this is what we think. Let's go in this direction. I kind of noticed that these inlets are a bit bigger than ours, or smaller than ours. So teams are trying to find that grip of performance. Teams are always trying to find braking performance anyway. Braking is very important. Short amount of distance for braking, as much as you can apply and get off and keep those brakes cool, because you don't want to damn fire. And of course, it's very funny. Max Verstappen right now, nothing is Max's fault. Every time Max makes a mistake, it's always something with the car. He couldn't have just said, I just overshot it. You know, it's the brakes, it's the brakes. It's like, man, come on, you never take responsibility. I just seeing this picture up there, it just reminded me, and I think it was FP2 he did that, but it's always the car and somebody else. It's never just something that Max did. But as it sits right here, Aston Martin making those changes. The next team up that we have that will declare some changes is BWT Alpine. And I will say that Franco Colapinto spinning out as much as he did earlier, I would have said something not negative, but I would have been very critical of it. But seeing how other drivers were doing the same thing, Max is off track, Lewis Hamilton spins out, Colapinto spins out. I think, who else spun out? It was, I forget, somebody else. It was another couple of drivers spun out, had some incidents on track. So this track, the dirt, the dust, Canada, is it's just something that we've seen has been dealt with multiple drivers. So I'm not going to crucify Colapinto for that, because I was like, bro, what the hell you doing? I got this thing going on with my bro mechanic Mercedes. You can't be embarrassing me out here like that, right? I just need you to get P12 and it's all the way up. Get P12 while Alpine's got you in there. And another thing is, if he can stay in the seat longer, it's even better for me, because I said during his Alpine stint this season, so if he gets more than 5 or 6 in racing events, that just gives me more upside. I just need Colapinto. He got 13 already. You got 13 already. I just need you to shoot for that 12, buddy. So as it says right there, BWT is the front wing reprofiled and a shorter flap. Flap has been shortened and redesigned, generating less load, therefore offering an aero balance range that may require for the track characteristics. So this is why they call it circuit specific. Not really expecting to see a lot from them, but hey, you never know. Sometimes you can get a surprise there, and we'll see what happens with that surprise, if it is indeed something that is being surprised. As we saw, MoneyGram did not declare any changes. They are zeroed out. Another team that did not declare any changes was, who was it? It was the Red Bull didn't declare any changes as well. So going down to the next team aside from that is going to be the Racing Bulls. Red Bull Visa Cash App shit. They got to figure out something on this name. I'm trying to tell you, this name change every season is kind of getting a little bit wearing. But they have 2 changes declared: front wing, rear corner, most rearward element for the front flat features. Then they got flow conditioning for the rear corners and vertices. They trying to do everything they can do in there. But the one thing I will say is the hot topic right now with Hadjar is, of course, people are concerned, as well as you and I, and even Hadjar himself. He said he's not ready, and I think he's right to say he's not ready, because if you look at what you've seen, it doesn't bode well for you if you make that move. It hasn't really for anybody else, and it's not anybody else's real fault, although I don't know how much they would have done given if everything was equal. I think some of the people could pretty much say you probably wouldn't have done that great. But we know the car and the setup and the team and the way they focus in, it didn't help you. And Hadjar, I definitely hope you stay away from that. I hope that there's not a clause in your contract where you have to accept that and go up anyway. Bro, if you can stay away from that Red Bull seat, stay away from that Red Bull seat. find a way to put your resume together as you so elegantly are right now, and you're looking good without having to do that. But it's also not to say that going up to Red Bull and then not performing well doesn't necessarily mean you're locked out from getting other opportunities. But I can tell you this, what driver, and anybody answer this for me in the chat, because I'm just asking, what driver has been upgraded to the Red Bull team, didn't perform well, and then got a seat in a top performing team? I'm talking about Mercedes. I'm talking about McLaren. I'm talking about Ferrari. What driver? As of in the last five seasons, I can't think of one. Perez is out right now. He's not even racing. Nick DeVries came and gone with the wind in itself. Liam Lawson is back to the junior team. Alex Albon is with Williams. And Gasly's with Alpine, who, after not performing well in a car that really wasn't great for them, has went up to a top performing team that got promoted to the Red Bull seat. Not AlphaTauri, not Toro Rosso, not the Racing Bulls, got promoted to the Red Bull seat, and after not performing in the Red Bull seat, went to a top performing team. None of them. None of them. So for people to say that, yeah, you could still, no, the way you do that, if it happens, is you have to be an anomaly within that condition, and basically in a situation that is not built to help you, not built to go for you, you'd have to go into Red Bull and perform obscenely nice, and then you could get that chance, but nobody else has. And it's not set up for you too. They're too Max-centric. So yes, Hadjar, don't do it, brother. Stay where you are. Stay where you are and keep building your confidence. Keep building your racecraft. Keep building your understanding, knowledge, your talent, your skills, your ability to even make yourself better than you are right now. And if you get the opportunity and a team spots you, which I think they will, go somewhere where you can mutually have competition to the other side of the garage and not be handicapped because they're going to tie one hand behind your back if you're not Max Verstappen. I just don't agree. Don't do it. This is one of those times where you can legitimately say there might be a good enough debate to turn down the promotion of that job. That's all I'm saying. Might be an opportunity. It might be a debate to do that. Williams is not claiming any changes. Kick Sauber's not claiming any changes. And even if they did, I'm not sure it would damn matter. So with that being said, we are moments off from FP3, where we get a bit more opportunity to kind of start forming our forecasting landscape of what we think might happen in quali. And quali will be later, around 1600, I believe. So it's going to be interesting. Gives you a little bit more time in the day to get ready for the race. You don't have to wake up so early. We're a little later. So I think this is usually a good time, I think, for everybody, right? For everybody. Because even at 1600, it's probably a roughly, I think, 2100 UK time for my family across the pond. On the West Coast, it's just coming into the afternoon. So I usually like this right here. So I think this usually does work right here. So definitely we'll see what happens. And we'll go from there. We'll go from there and see how everything goes. And hopefully it's a good quali, because most qualies have been good. There's sometimes the racing events that haven't been the best. And that was mainly last year. This year, everything's been good. It's pretty well watchful, except for Monaco. It's got to go. And I ain't even trying to rhyme. All right. It's just real. So with that being said, we will watch out quali. We will be live for quali. That live stream is already up. Click it, set your reminder, click the bell. Don't miss it. We'll be back in hours to see who's going to grab that pole position. Is it going to be McLaren, one of two drivers, Oscar, Orlando? Will it surprise us? Will Mercedes jump up there? Could Kimi get his first? Could Kimi get his first pole position in a racing situation where then he can take it into the race and grab a race win? Don't know. Unlikely. I doubt it. Will Russell surprise us? Will Max Verstappen get up there as he's going to drag a top performing car tractor to pole position and just wow us all with his awesome ability in one of the top fastest cars? I doubt it. It's just going to happen. But Max lays hot laps, and you do know that, so I don't count Max out for a pole position at all. And Ferrari, Charles having another error. It was Charles that spun out as well. Charles, he spun out to a fault and just wrecked up the car, and Lance Stroll just as a given. Will Charles be able to we know he's got good one-lap pace, good quality pace, but Lewis Hamilton, very fond of this track, but still trying to get along with the car, so we'll see what happens then. So we will see you all soon. Peace and love to everybody. I'm out.